Hi, this is Akash Singh Rathod. You're watching my YouTube channel Views, Reviews, and Interviews. And I'm just giving you a short view today on something that has really been bothering me. So I have written an article in Deccan Herald, I think it was out on February 14, on this topic of Bitcoin, the draft banning of cryptocurrency bill that's under consideration right now by the government. I think they're going to introduce the bill in the budget session, so it might actually turn out to be inevitable. Now, what I'm hoping is that people in government come to their senses and really reconsider what they're doing. Now, you might be surprised to hear me being such a champion of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. It's not doesn't come from a libertarian capitalist point of view, quite the opposite. In fact, I'll make another video later about what I would speculate Marx's position on this to be, just to satisfy some of you who are in total opposite camp of the libertarian one, as I myself am. But we have to keep a few things in mind. One of them is the profound irony of it all. You know that I mean, corporations across the planet, PayPal, Square, MasterCard, Visa, all payment systems are currently in the process of integrating Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies into their processing. Corporations, Apple's introducing it into Apple Pay, Bitcoin, possibly Ethereum. Tesla, of course, has adopted it as part of its own treasury. So, instead of sitting on cash, Elon Musk announced that Tesla has purchased $1.5 billion of Bitcoin, and MicroStrategy and Oracle is coming next. Maybe Apple, IBM, Microsoft. Basically, all of the tech companies and companies that are dealing with payment platforms are adopting Bitcoin, both building out different systems for payment processes, as well as buying into Bitcoin, buying Bitcoin for their treasuries, and that trend is only going to increase in the coming year. Now, think about this. The Indian government is begging Tesla to build their gigafactory in outside of Bangalore, in Karnataka. And it's not the Indian government, at least the Karnataka government is begging Musk to do this. So, simple question. Take your average Indian citizen who faces up to 10 years in jail for holding cryptocurrency. The government, in the draft bill, they've said that they are introducing excessive punishments. They use this term that these punishments are not proportionate. They're introducing excessive punishments to citizens holding cryptocurrency because they want to dissuade them. And yet we are begging Tesla to bring its factory, its business into India, and we know that Tesla has Bitcoin on its balance sheet. We know that its CEO is a Bitcoin holder. We know that they accept Bitcoin payments for these vehicles. So how is this precisely supposed to work? That we are going to allow corporations to profit off of Bitcoin, and we're going to imprison citizens for merely being in possession of it? The global trend right now, not only for corporations, but even for national governments around the world, there are states and governments that are mining Bitcoin, and then there are those like Nigeria, now India, that are banning it. The trend is toward introducing Bitcoin even into sovereign funds like the UAE is doing, and many other countries. The risks that allegedly are posed to individual citizens by not having a currency backed by a sovereign authority, I mean, that's a bit ironic, because in India we witnessed demonetization, so the biggest risk to our currency has been the sovereign authority. Nevertheless, these alleged risks, terrorism, black, what is that called? The black market or whatever, the so-called illegal uses that cryptocurrencies are put toward. Well, those illegal uses have always historically been cash, the rupee. And yet we have made workarounds because it's worth it, because it's important. We don't want to just abolish currency and go back to bartering. So if we're going to introduce technologies, then we also have to introduce systems to work around their externalities. But instead of taking this view of progress, this view of technology, this view of what these new payment systems can do to bank the millions and millions of bankless in India, instead of doing that, the government, in its infinite folly, wisdom, has decided to outright ban it. In other words, we're acknowledging that we cannot compete, we cannot cope, and so we have to shut it down. The problem is we're just going to impoverish ourselves more in this process. We're going to impoverish ourselves now because in the process of banning Bitcoin and making it illegal, we are going to disallow average Indian citizens from owning some of this increasingly precious commodity. And by the time, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years from now, when India realizes that it was a disastrous move to try to avoid modernizing and avoid progress, and they have to reverse the decision, by that time Bitcoin's price is going to be out of our reach. So this is a policy of the impoverishment of the people, and government recognizing illustrating its incompetence. I will update you more as I find out details of the progress of the ban bill, and when I'm less upset about it, I'll actually go through step by step the arguments of government and the counter arguments, why these arguments are not good. The number one thing we have to watch out for is, of course, that the RBI is going to attempt to implement its own digital currency, what's called a CBDC, central bank digital currency. And this is what we in the cryptocurrency community refer to basically as a shitcoin. So, RBI is going to give us, government's going to ban crypto and Bitcoin, and then RBI is going to give us a shitcoin in its place. And we'll have to suffer that for the next 2 to 5 years until things go back to normal. But I'll update you on how this